Hey friends! Today Miss Casey was going to start our read aloud that we voted on during our Google Meet last Friday. So we are going to be reading Junie B, first grader, Shipwrecked. And if you remember, Miss Casey was saying each day of this week I would read a chapter or two. Well, we're going to do a little bit of math here. This book, if we're looking at the table of contents, has 10 chapters. So there are 5 days in a school week. That would mean that Miss Casey is going to read 2 chapters a day for us. Let's count by twos. Ready? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. If we're doing multiplication, that'd be like 5 times 2. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get started. First chapter, breathing germs. Friday. Dear first grade journal, today is the end of the week. Mr. Scary is taking attendance. Attendance is the school word for who isn't here today. There are lots of children out sick in room 1. I'm going to count them, I think. She's so silly. I will be back in a minute. Okay, here is a teensy problem I just ran into. Because how can I count the people who aren't here? On account of they didn't show up, apparently. Taking attendance is harder than it looks. From Junie B, first grader. I put down my pencil to think about this situation. Only I didn't even have time to concentrate hardly because all of a sudden there was a noise on the other side of the room. I turned my head to look. It's Splat-toe! A boy named Roger throwed up on the floor. Now remember how when we were reading Junie B. Jones, we're grammar police? She said a boy named Roger throwed up on the floor. We know throwed is threw up, past tense. It was the disgustingest, also not a word, thing I've ever saw. Also, the air did not smell delightful. I quick held my nose and closed my eyes. Only too bad for me, because my bunny eyes have a brain of their own, and they kept on sneaking peeks of the Splat-toe. It was Cheerios, I believe. Finally, I put my head on my desk, and I covered it with my arms. Only just then, more trouble happened, and it's called a boy named Sheldon couldn't stand the Splat-toe. And so he jumped up from his chair, and he ran straight out of room 1, and that was a surprise, I tell you. Mr. Scary ran after him. He brought Sheldon back in a jiffy. Then he quick called the school nurse, Mrs. Weller, on the phone, and he told her that we need her help right now. Hurry, he said, fast! And so Mrs. Weller zoomed to room 1 as fast as a speedy rocket. And then she hurried over to Roger, and she talked to him in a calm voice. And she said, everything is going to be okay. Roger hanged his head real embarrassed. Hung, not hang. I felt sorry for that guy. Also, he was making me ill. Finally, Mrs. Weller helped him get up from his chair, and she held his hand and she took him to the office. After that, room 1 could not do any work on account of how can you do work with Splat-toe on the floor? Only hooray, hooray! Because pretty soon, our janitor named Gus Bellany came rushing through the door. I jumped right up when I saw him. Gus Bellany, it's me, it's Junie B. Jones, I hollered out. Roger throwed up everywhere. Gus Bellany winked at me. Then he went straight to Roger's desk and he took out his important janitor equipment and he sprinkled powder all over the Splat-toe. And wowee, wow, that stuff swept up like a miracle. We could not believe our eyeballs. Whoa, said my friend named Lenny. See, whoa, said my other friend, Jose. That powder is like magic. I sniffed the air. Yes, it is like magic, Jose. Plus now it smells lemony fresh in here. Other children sniffed too. It does smell lemony fresh, said a girl named Shirley. I wish I had some of that stuff from my mother. She loves to clean up my messes. Mine does too, said my bestest friend named Herbert. Then all of a sudden, Herb springed out of his seat, very excited. Wait, hold it. My mother's birthday is on Sunday, he said. And so that's what I'll get her. I'll get her a tub of that magic powder. What's the name of it, Mr. Valany? Huh? What is it called? What's it called? Gus Valany's face went kind of funny. He glanced his eyes at Mr. Scary and then back at Herbert again. Finally, he ran his fingers through his bald hair and he said the name of it. Vomit Absorbent, he said, kind of quiet. It's called Vomit Absorbent. At first, Herbert just stood at his desk very frozen. He did not say any words. Then, after a minute, he did a little shiver and he sat back down. Maybe I'll just draw her a picture, he said. Gus Valany nodded. Then he packed up his stuff and he waved goodbye to room 1 and Mr. Scary walked him into the hall. While he was gone, Sheldon put his lunch sack on his head. As soon as Mr. Scary saw it, he tried to take it off, but Sheldon held on tight. No, don't. I need this, he said. If I stay in here, I won't catch Roger's germs. I raised my eyebrows at that remark. Yeah, only I don't get it, Sheldon. How can you catch Roger's germs? Because Gus Valany just sweeped them up in his bucket, remember? Sheldon talked to me through his bag. Roger's germs aren't just in the bucket, Junie B, he said. Whenever somebody throws up, their germs shoot in the air and all over the place. Then, if somebody else breathes that same air, those germs can get sucked right up their nose nostrils. I did a little cringe at that information. Then I looked all around in the air, and very slowly, I lifted my hand. I closed my nose nostrils. Room 1 watched me. Then, one by one, they closed their nose nostrils too. And so all of us held our noses tight with our fingers. We didn't breathe for the whole rest of the morning. Chapter 2, Letting Go. Make a quick little prediction of what you think is going to happen in this chapter with a family member. I'll give you 10 seconds. Got it? All right, here we go. It is not easy to hold your nose and eat a sandwich. You cannot swallow good like that. Also, you can't actually breathe. The reason I know this is because room 1 kept on holding our noses while we ate our lunch. My ears felt blocked when I chewed. I tapped on my friend Herbert. I am not enjoying my cheese sandwich today, I said. Me too, said Herb. I am not enjoying my sandwich too. Plus, I don't even know what I'm eating because I can't taste what's under my lettuce. I thought for a minute. Then I tapped him again. Yeah, only what if you're eating something you hate? I said. Herb thought too. Then he quick put down his sandwich and he lifted up his spread so both of us could see. We leaned our heads real close. Lenny and Jose leaned their heads in too. Said Jose. This is only a guess, but I'm thinking tuna salad. Lenny shook his head. I'm thinking ham spread. Herb made a face. I'm thinking I'm done, he said. After that, he got out his apple and he tried to take a bite, only he couldn't actually get it in his mouth on account of he was still holding his nostrils. Finally, Herbert got frustration in him. I give up, he crouched. Then he let go of his nose and he breathed in a big sniff of air. Air, he said. It looked good to do that. I let go of my nostrils and I breathed too. Air, I said. Next to me, May's whole mouth came open. She did the cuckoo sign at us. You two are crazy to do that, she said. Dirty, nasty germs are getting sucked right up your nose this very minute, I bet. I looked surprised at that news. Really, May? Thank you for telling me that. Then I leaned over next to her and I breathed out my nose air on her shoulder. There, all gone, I said. May did a gasp. Ew, 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 she hollered real loud. Then she jumped right up and she tattletaled to Mr. Scary at the front of the table. Mr. Scary, Junie Jones breathed nose air on my shoulder and now I've got germs on me, she yelled. Mr. Scary kept eating his lunch. He was pretending May was not there, I believe. That's what adults do sometimes. May kept on tapping on his arm and she wiped her shoulder. Nose air, she hollered in his ear. Finally, Mr. Scary stood up real calm and he walked May back to her seat. Boys and girls, I know that many of you are still worried about what happened to Roger this morning, and I promise that we'll talk more about it after recess, okay? But right now, I want all of you to release your nostrils and eat your lunch. He stood there and waited. One by one, all of us let go of our nostrils, only not Sheldon. Instead, Sheldon ducked his head under the lunch table and he said he was looking for his pickle. I peeked at him under there. He was hiding under his napkin, holding his nose. When the bell finally rang for recess, room 1 was the first class out the door. Fresh air, fresh air, fresh air, we shouted, very joyful. Then all of us breathed big snorts of breath. Because Roger couldn't have shot his germs all the way outside, probably. After that, we skipped and jumped and clapped and played, except for not Sheldon and not May. Sheldon sat down and held his nostrils some more. May went to the water fountain and washed her shoulder. Talk with a family member. How did you enjoy those first 2 chapters? Or even send a message to Miss Kesey. I would love to know. Tomorrow, tune in for chapters 3 and 4 and maybe make another little prediction. Chapter 3's heading is virus, virus. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.